On a series of letters that have been written by, different agencies as well as individuals joining us to look at these two matters, the CBN, NNPC, and the letter to President Jonathan is Liborous Oshomah. He's a legal practitioner. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, do you have a whole lot on your plate when it comes to these letters, or you're not surprised?
I'm not surprised, really. I'm not, I must say. 2015 is around the corner, and so there's need for a lot of us to want to play to the gallery. We've seen all of this happen before. You have CBN governor, in spite of the fact that this agency has a lot, you know, in his dark cupboards, crying foul, where there seems to be none. And also you have a former president that foisted on us the situation we are in now, also crying foul where there is. First and foremost, I would say we should need to understand, a lot of people really need to understand the workings of the NNPC in terms of revenue collection. You have equity crude, third-party financing, the petroleum profit tax, royalties. All of these revenues are collected statutorily by different agencies. Only NNPC collects only equity crude. The rest are collected by different agencies. So I would expect the CBN governor to understand all of these workings. But the problem we have here is that we have people in position of leadership who are truly not prepared for this office, and so they get there, it becomes a trial by error. And so now also moving to the letter, former president's letter to the current president. If you remember, in 2007, Nigerians said, look, these two people you are foisting on us, one is not 2 feet, and the other one is ill-prepared. And Obasanjo said, no, that's the best you can have. We all remember here the Moro, they say you are dead, are you dead saga. And Goodluck Jonathan single-handedly handpicked from Bayelsa for joining Obasanjo in the fight against Alamesia and foisted on us. Because also we had a docile people, and then also we had an agency of government that was responsible for conducting the elections that was largely manipulated by the president. We all knew the days of Morisiwu, and then also even the then president Umaru Musa Yar'Adua came on board to say the elections that brought me to office, supervised by Obasanjo, were largely perfect. And so, but we admit, and to that extent, he set up the Ways panel. And the
supervised by.
Yes,
no,
that's my. I had to add that emphasis.
It's very important that you state that, because we know that there was an INEC at that particular point in time.
I needed to add that emphasis. INEC at that time, and you remember the days of Morisiwu. INEC was like an extension of the ruling party.
Okay.
And so the election was supervised by the then president because that was the outcome they wanted, and till date, Nigerians have not recovered from all of these misgivings. So what we expect from our leaders now is they should all come before Nigerians and apologize to Nigerians for all of this problem. And remember, we're talking about a 2-time president. Recently, Mr. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was in Jigawa, where he went to, I think, commission a project by Sule Lamido, Governor Sule Lamido. And we all knew, was in media. He raised up Sule Lamido's hand to say, yes, people have been saying I helped somebody into office, but you cannot help the person to work. And so this is the next anointed. So we should move past. I agree, Mr. President had not, performed. It is not for, we know some, imagine a Babangida writing a similar letter to Obasanjo when he was in office. Do you know the rubbish Obasanjo would have made of that letter? And so all of these issues, all the issues raised to me are issues we had discussed at this fora and in other fora. And are still, topics for discussion. And they are not, these are issues also, these issues are not new to this present government. These are issues that have been, recurrent in our, in governance. And mind you, 2015 around the corner, and some people, we all know the crisis in PDP also were caused by some people, certain persons. And now wanting to take credit for all of this, that's for me,
well, don't you think for the very first time, we should be talking about contents,
yes,
and leave individuals, because this is not the first time we've seen letters like this or comments from individuals. You don't expect the market woman to complain, and even if she does, she just may not be heard. And if someone is finally giving bite to what we have always talked about, sometimes in harsh tones, don't you think we should open that letter and discuss the content?
Issues we discuss here are not in harsh tones. Issues we discuss, issues bordering on crude oil theft, issues bordering on subsidy, budgeting, and not in harsh tones. These are issues that had been discussed. Issues on corruption are not in harsh tone. Even the National Assembly had been on top of it. For the fact that for the first time, a former president of Olusegun Obasanjo is coming out to talk about it, I'm not surprised. I'm not. You don't expect me to go hug Obasanjo to say, oh yes, for the first time you are discussing this issue. Why I'm looking at the personalities here, it's because, not because we know Obasanjo and we know what Obasanjo is, and not because he's not discussing this because, oh yes, all of a sudden I want, the interest of the people to prevail. It should be about the people. It should be about Nigerians. They are doing this because already they have agendas for 2015. They have anointed. They want to continually rule us, impoverish us. And so it is high time we begin to look away from these people.
We cannot look away, Mr. Oshomah. We cannot look away from people stealing.
No, not distilling.
Oil.
I'm talking about people, the personalities doing these letters.
Arming themselves, because I don't have a place to run to. You have a family. Everyone watching, they all have families. If all else fails today and we fail to talk about these issues and we plunge ourselves into chaos, don't you think we'll be in bigger mess than this?
What I'm saying is there are people who should be in a better position. The ordinary Nigerian are in a better position to talk about these issues. And I urge the ordinary Nigerians to, now that they say a house divided against itself cannot stand. And now that the house is divided against itself, it's now time for us, those of us that have been seated idle, those of us that have been docile, looking for a Messiah, it shows now that it is now time for us to rise up and say, look, these people Oshomah, gradually, their ranks is being divided. Okay. And so I'm not talking about, not looking at the issues of oil theft, corruption, and it's the same thing. It's like the kettle calling the pot black.
Mr. Oshomah, you see, they say a poor man making noise is never heard. But the one who is wealthy, making a little bit of noise, doesn't really make, just whispers, he's heard loudly. Now, see the reactions that are coming because a former president wrote this.
Will you call
would it be right then to say these things? I mean, in the African tradition, the king usually has a council of elders that advise him. And when they advise him, what does he do? He does not look at their persons. He looks at the issues they brought on and they run ahead. That's what
yes, I agree with you.
So shouldn't that be the focus?
I agree with you in that light, that the issues here. But what I am saying is we should not lose sight of the fact that these are new issues. These are issues that have been on ground even before 1999. And these were the same issues we raised against this same former president when he was in office. And he called us names. Say, look, even somebody, remember, Idris Abdul Karim said, Nigeria jaga jaga, people are dying, and yet there is no justice for the family. And what did the man, what was his response to the musician? That is his family that is jaga jaga. So if you now come up to say, now you agree all of a sudden that Nigeria is jaga jaga, what we are saying is, look, let's not lose sight of the fact that because it's coming from this rich man does not mean that the poor man had not been crying foul almost to his death. And so, Nigerians, shine your eye. Don't look too much at this, don't be focused at this man. Look at the issues, take them, and find a way of pushing all of them aside and look for new leaders who are truly prepared for leadership role, and not people who because they were in the military, found themselves at the corridors of power, became leaders, and all of a sudden became stakeholders. What if these people are stakeholders? What am I? An onlooker?